applause for James Mackenzie! Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you finding the con?
It's been great, it's been really busy, met loads of wonderful people, it's been great, loved it.
So I've got some questions for you today,
Okay.
but I feel like we have to do this in a certain way. So
Right.
I'm not going to do this very well, so you might have to repeat it after me, but let the questions begin.
Nice, I like what you did there.
So, thank you. I was working very hard on it. My first question is, what inspired you to pursue acting as a career and how did you get started?
I was fortunate to have my dad to follow. My dad is an actor, still acting now, and so I grew up with it. I was very lucky that so I kind of went into it with my eyes open. But yeah, my dad managed to carve out a career and look after a family and, have the best job in the world. So I kind of thought I wanted to do that. So, and it turned out that it was kind of the only thing I was half decent at. So acting it was. And so I would have to say my dad inspired me, and yeah, luckily enough I've managed to do the same. I have a family, I do this for a living, and it's the best job in the world.
That's amazing. So how did you land the role of Raven?
So I was quite lucky that when I was younger I had an agent, and when I was finishing drama school, my agent asked me if I wanted to audition for a new show that the BBC were doing, a new kids show. So I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And I auditioned 2 or 3 times, and then I got the job. And it was literally my first job out of drama school. So I graduated on the Friday and started filming Raven on the Monday, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, and obviously at that time we didn't quite know how successful Raven might be. We certainly didn't know we were going to end up with there we go, with 15 series and 2 BAFTAs and all the rest. So yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, that's how I ended up with the job.
That is really interesting. That is so cool. So there was a lot of challenges in Raven, all different types of challenges. Was there any that really stuck out to you as your favourite?
Definitely the final challenge on Raven, which was called The Way of the Warrior. That was awesome. It was definitely the most difficult challenge on the whole show, and the one that really put people through their paces. There was only a select few that actually got through and managed to complete it. So that's definitely the one that stands out to me, and that was the one that I always wanted to have a go at, and I did, and I failed miserably. So yeah.
No, don't worry, I would as well. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Way back in the year of 2018, I did one of Navarre's demons and I got to meet you, and it was amazing. So I wondered, what is it like for you when you see somebody either dressed as somebody from the show or dressed as you?
Oh, I mean, when you're doing a Comic-Con and someone comes up and they're cosplaying as you, it's pretty awesome. Like, that's, it's a really, it's kind of slightly surreal, but it's wicked. Yeah, especially because, the Raven costume was quite a difficult one, with the feathers and leather and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's a big compliment, right? It's cool, and to be part of a show that was such a huge part of so many people's childhood, that's an awesome privilege. Yeah.
So my next question is about the remake where you came back to the show as the Raven of old. What was it like going back to that role and working alongside Aisha Toussaint?
Yeah, that was so bizarre. Like, after 7 years of it finishing and then to get recommissioned was awesome. I probably wasn't quite that much of a fan of the Raven of old, That made me feel really old. But I quite liked the way that I ended up coming back a bit like a feathery Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you know what I mean? So I quite like that. That was quite cool. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's rare for a show that's been off air for as long as 7 years for it to be recommissioned. So that was really cool. And most importantly, like, the costume still fitted, so that was something I was dead chuffed with. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot can happen in 7 years. So yeah, it was cool. So it was great to do it again. It was a bit like putting on an old comfy jumper. Do you know what I mean? It was great. It's great to do it again.
Speaking of the costume and just the set itself, was there anything that maybe found its way with you when the show finished that you were able to bring with you?
Well, I'd love to say that I have the staff of power, but I don't. Someone else nicked that, and when I find them, I will kill them. But someone else has it. But yes, I got various little props and little bits and bobs, the odd skull, a couple of gold rings. I've got the replacement head of my staff of power, the Raven's head. I've got, in case it ever got broke, they had a replacement head, so I've got that. And allegedly, I might have the costume, allegedly, in my attic, allegedly. But
Allegedly.
if the BBC ask, I don't.
No. BBC, no, it's not real. You know nothing. Which kind of goes to my next one without me realising. While I was preparing these questions, my father asked something rather interesting, and I don't know if anyone will agree with me. But the styling of Raven's outfit, do you think Game of Thrones took inspiration with that for Jon Snow?
Well, I like to tell people that I had the feathers and leather before Jon Snow, so yeah, I'd like to think so. Was it last year or the year before? I tweeted or X'd or whatever you want to call it now. When the last series of Traitors happened, and everyone was going mad for Traitors. I put up a picture of Claudia Winkleman in her, like, one of her Traitors outfits, and then a picture of Jon Snow and a picture of me, and just said, I did this first. But yeah, I think so many people when they saw Game of Thrones, they were like, oh my god, that's Raven's outfit. So that's pretty cool.
I thought the same, but it was very much of a situation of my father going, you're going to ask this. I was like, okay. Yes, father, so I will let him know that he was correct.
Brilliant.
But we know now that we know who the real Jon Snow was.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to aspiring actors? So people maybe starting out in the industry, this is kind of a personal one for me, but what would you give to them?
Don't give up, persevere, be patient, because it is a difficult industry. It's difficult to get in the door quite often. I think you definitely have to be patient, and you definitely have to persevere. Because if you can get into it, then it's awesome, because it really is, when you're working, it's the best job in the world. Best job in the world. So yeah, I would never encourage anyone not to. All I would say is, be patient, persevere, and definitely have something on the side that can help you earn some pennies in between your acting work, because it can be a tough old road, but genuinely it's worth it. It's worth it. It's the best job in the world.
So my closing one before I open it out to the audience is, if you could go for an audition and be guaranteed the role, so we could hop into a time machine now and you could audition for something in the past, something that's currently in production, or even something that you'd like to see be made into a film or a TV show, what would you go for?
Easy, 2 things. Top Gear presenter or James Bond. Done.
They are very good choices.
Yeah.
So I will open it out to the audience now. I will pass this.
Who has questions?
What was your favourite episode of Raven?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I think probably don't know if I had a favourite episode, but definitely the series of Raven called The Secret Temple, which we were able to go over to India and film. That was pretty awesome. And also, lastly, there was a series called The Dragon's Eye, and they were two of my favourite ones because they happened to, they crossed over the element of the game show element of the show. Also, they had quite a lot of drama in there as well, which was fun. So I got to kind of have a bit more acting as Raven and not just the kind of the game show host. So yeah, I think those were my two favourites. But probably The Secret Temple because I was very lucky to be able to go to India. So that was awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, there's someone at the back.
All the way at the back. Get in, I have to move. Get steps in, get on the steps in. Let's go.
What was a role that you went for and were really disappointed that you didn't get, and how did you kind of bring yourself to keep doing acting, if that makes sense, after that disappointment of not getting it?
I'd love to say something really cool like James Bond, but that didn't happen. What is the role that I'm disappointed that I didn't get? I don't have anything specific in terms of roles, but you know, as a working actor, you do tend to come across a lot of rejection anyway, like it's part of the job. So you know, there can be lots of things, whether it's theatre or television or film, that you might go up for that you don't get, and I think you just have to take a thick skin with it because it is part of the job. And if you can deal with that kind of rejection, then you're halfway there to being an actor, if I'm honest, because it's such a big part of it. So how do I deal with it? I think you just do. You just go. I think the best thing to do is just to write it off and move on. Whenever I audition or get a casting for something, as soon as I've done it, I just forget about it, so that if I get the job, then it's a bonus. And if I don't, it doesn't matter because I've forgotten about it. Does that make sense? But I don't. Unfortunately, I'd love to say that I auditioned for James Bond and was second choice, but no, it didn't happen. I've come close with a couple of kind of films and things, and you know, kind of fairly well-known TV series and stuff like that. But nothing. Yeah, like I say, if James Bond came calling, they could get a kind of middle-aged, hairy Scotsman to play James Bond. I'd be there. Yeah, thank you for your question.
Any other questions? No? Yes? No? Any? You have a question. Oh, there we go. That was good, that. I'm good timing now, wasn't it? Question time. I'm coming all the way back, don't worry. What is the question?
What was the best part of doing Raven?
There was so many. I would say probably the best part was the young people that took part in the show. You know, it's such a bizarre thing to be part of when you're kind of, you know, like 13, 14. You're away from home, you're away from your parents and your family, and you're asked to be kind of part of a medieval, mystical other world and go into a game show that you could get knocked out. And the young people were awesome, and they embraced it so much. They took on their roles, they took it seriously, they were so professional, they knew more of the technical aspects of the show quite often than I did. You know what I mean? Like, they would be like, so James, is this a take or a rehearsal? Do you want me to go to my number one position? Or so yeah, I think the best thing about the show was the young people, and also, yeah, they threw themselves into it, they became part of it, and a lot of them made lifelong friendships. So that's awesome. The fact that there's still young people who are now well over 30 who took part in the show, and they are now still friends. So that's probably the best thing I would say. But yeah, awesome job.
I've got a quick question. I don't know if you've already answered it. I don't know.
Alright, Joe, go on.
So if you could host a different game show, so like for instance Trapped or something like that, which one would you go for?
Trapped was pretty
It
awesome.
was a good one.
Jungle Run,
Well, like, yes.
or
Yes.
this is going back a little bit further, but I don't have I don't have the mullet, but Funhouse, that was like my childhood. I wanted to go on that show with Pat Garp and there was that bit you could do the go-karts and all that. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, Trapped was a good one.
I enjoyed Trapped a lot. Not as much as Raven, don't worry. I got you.
Nice recovery.
Have we got any other questions? Oh, there we go. All the way back again.
Gentleman at the back.
Oh my god, we're back again.
Did you ever have a go at The Way of the Warrior? And if you did you complete it?
I'd love to say, of course, I did Young Warrior, but no, I did get a go at The Way of the Warrior, but unfortunately, on that occasion, it was the camera crew and production crew that were manning it, and they absolutely annihilated me. No, I failed miserably. But yeah, I was never going to win. They were never going to let me. But yeah, but at least I got a taste of what the Young Warriors went through, right? So yeah, awesome.
Any other questions? Any more for any more? We go. Great. I'm a bit blind at times. I apologise. Sorry.
Sorry, me again. Do you prefer acting for stage or acting for screen?
I love both. I started out in theatre, so when I was younger, so that's my first love. But I'm kind of fortunate that I have had the opportunity to work a lot in television and film. I think I don't think I could. It's like asking which is your favourite child. But I love them both equally, but for different reasons. I love the immediacy of theatre and having a live audience and seeing the reaction and being able to see the whites of people's eyes. That's cool, and because you can't afford to make a mistake because they're right there. Whereas in film and TV, you can cut the camera and go again. So yeah, I love them both differently for different reasons. But also, film and TV pays better. So as much as I'd love to do theatre all my days, we've all got bills to pay, right? So yeah, but no, I don't have a preference because they both bring their own challenges and own rewards. So yeah, but again, great question, thank you.
Got time for one more question? Does anybody? Yeah, I'll go to the booth. It's a lot more fun. Having to walk so far.
Is there like an actor who you'd love to work with in the future if you could? Like a dream actor?
I would have loved to have worked with Alan Rickman, but he's no longer with us. Because Die Hard is one of my favourite films when he was the baddie Hans Gruber, and Alan Rickman's Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves is awesome. So I quite often, if I ever do, when I do pantomime and play the baddie, which I quite often do, I always like to try and bring in a bit of Alan Rickman's Sheriff of Nottingham in there. But Alan Rickman, Ian McKellen, who else? There's an American actor called Walton Goggins, who's in things like Justified and was in Sons of Anarchy and all that. He's pretty awesome. However, funnily enough, none of those actors, including Alan Rickman, have come knocking on my door to ask me to work with them. So unfortunately, I'll just have to leave that to my dreams. But yes, that's it. Thank you very much for your question.
Well, that is all we have time for today. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And can I have a massive round of applause for James Mackenzie?
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me. Farewell, young warrior.